Hello everyone, today I'm going to discuss one of the important topic in my online social science class. Topic's name is From Trade to Territory. It is second chapter of history book. This chapter is very important because in this chapter we will read how British East India Company and other European companies they established their rule in India. So let's see the content of this chapter. Here in this chapter we are going to read introduction. East India Company began trade in Bengal. How trade led the Battle of Plassey. Company rule extends. Tipu Sultan. Doctrine of lapse. Setting up new administration, the company army, and some other important points of the chapter we will discuss step by step. So first of all, we have introduction of this chapter. As you all know that in 1707 AD, last powerful Mughal emperor Aurangzeb died. After the death of Aurangzeb, many Mughal governors, subedars, big zamindars, they declared their independence in different parts of the country. Because after his death, his successors were not powerful they were not powerful and they were not able to hold the large empire which was established by Akbar, Shahjahan, Jahangir and Aurangzeb. I have taken only few names, not the all. Meanwhile, these were the powerful rulers who established their control from Kabul, Kandahar to the southern part of India. Now, after the death of Aurangzeb, European companies they got an opportunity to do their trade relations in India. Let me tell you that first of all, in 1600, East India Company, British East India Company, that company got permission from Queen Elizabeth I and they got right to trade with eastern countries, especially here in India. Now this company could do trade relations, it could see new routes and new trade business for that profit. Meanwhile, this East India Company was a mercantile company. Mercantile here it refers that a business enterprise that makes profit primarily through trade, buying goods at very cheap rate and selling that item at higher price. The main purpose of this East India Company was to get huge profit from India. Although as per the agreement or royal charter, they could not occupy the political boundaries. Now let me tell you that in India, the arrival of European companies that began with the discovery of sea route by Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama, he was the first person. He was from Portugal. He was a Portuguese who came to India via Cape of Good Hope route. Means he completed his round around the African continent and reached in Indian coastal areas and landed in Calicut region in 1498 AD. As you know that after the arrival of this European person, this Vasco da Gama, many other countries they also came to India step by step. Just like then East India Company came in 1600, then Dutch people they came, Dutch East India Company, then Denmark people, Dane East India Company came, then French East India Company came, because the purpose of these companies was to establish trade relation in India. They knew very well that India is a good market for selling the items and purchasing the items for the European market. They realized that Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, clove, silk, cotton had a great demand in European nations. That's why these countries got attracted towards the wealth. As you all know that India, it was called golden sparrow. So these people felt that India is a good location for the market, for the raw material as well as for the labor. Means they had that type of ambition in their mind that in future they can take Indian people to those nations for their factories, for their plantation work. Coming to next slide, this desire of establishment of their colonies, it led to battles, war. So here the topic is how trade led to battle. As you know that when East India Company came, during that period they did not get any right. They were company members were only traders. They did their trade, but after the death of Aurangzeb they got Farman. Farman means a royal order, a royal edict. They got a Farman means an order from the Mughal emperor to do their trade in Indian provinces, especially in Bengal. They got this Farman first time. In Bengal, if we see that Murshid Quli Khan, who was the founder of this Bengal territory, Independent Kingdom, he was very powerful. During his period, Britishers they did not show their courage to enter in the areas and any illegal trade. After him, Ali Wardi Khan, he became the Nawab of Bengal, who was also very powerful. Britishers they were afraid of him. But successor of Ali Wardi Khan, Sirajud-Dowla, the Nawab of Bengal, he refused British members, these company members, to give any concession because he was ambitious. He wanted to throw these people out from Bengal areas, Bengal territory. Company members, they misused their powers. They started fortification of their forts in the Bengal territory. Here, let me tell you that first English factory that was also set up on the bank of river Hooghly in 1651 in this Bengal region only. These company members misused their powers. They felt that now Sirajudaulah will not take any action against them. But Sirajudaulah gave them warning again and again, asked them to stop their dominions, stop this fortification, and he asked them to pay the revenue. But he failed. Later on, soldiers of Sirajudaulah, around 30,000 soldiers, they reached to English factory at Qasim Bazar and captured the company officials. Around 146, here you can see in this slide, around 146 British East India Company members were captured and they were locked in one of the warehouse. Out of them, 123 died. So this was first setback to them. Now Britishers realized that now it's their time to take action. Their governor was Robert Clive, who was very ambitious person. So he decided to take the revenge of this incident. Ultimately, Robert Clive knew very well that Sirajuddaullah's army is very powerful. It was not possible for company members, because they were very few in number, not possible for them to fight with Sirajuddaulah directly. That's why they made a conspiracy against Nawab Sirajuddaulah, and in that conspiracy, Robert Clive, he met his military commander Mir Jafar and gave him lust, promised him that if he wins the battle against Sirajuddaulah, he will make him the Nawab of Bengal. So here you can see that Mir Jafar, he was trapped by him. He was called and given this promise by the company members, by Robert Clive. Mir Jafar, he made alliance with him, and when company army and Sirajuddaullah's army reached in the battlefield in 1757 at Plassey. This is a famous battle, Battle of Plassey, because it is considered as a turning point in Indian history. This was the first battle in which Britishers, they defeated any king or any ruler, and they controlled the economy of that area. So in the battlefield, when battle began, Sirajuddaulah gave order to his army, but Mir Jafar denied. So company members, they got the opportunity, and with the help of Mir Jafar, Sirajuddaulah was killed and Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal. Mir Jafar gave abundant money and many areas to Robert Clive, which was a turning point, as I told you, that company got power in Bengal region, and Nawab became a puppet king in the hands of the Britishers. Now Britishers, they demanded more and more money time and again from Mir Jafar, which he denied. He could not fulfill the demand of Robert Clive. Ultimately they changed him, and in place of him Mir Qasim, he was given the responsibility as a Nawab of Bengal. But Mir Qasim, he fought another battle at Buxar in 1764 because he could not fulfill the demand of Britishers. He met Mughal Emperor and Awadh of Nawab, and in alliance with these two rulers, one battle was fought in 1764 which is called Battle of Buxar, which gave complete rights of Bengal. Then Awadh region, and Mughal Emperor, he also came under the clutches of Britishers now. They signed one treaty of Allahabad in 1765 by which company members, they got many rights, especially the Diwani right was given to Britishers. Diwani right here, it refers the collection of the land revenue. By the results of this Plassey war, now Nawab had to pay 5 lakh rupees, and here he collected, you can say, thousands of rupees from different areas as a title, as a gift. Though when Robert Clive, he reached London, he faced impeachment because of this excess money, and ultimately he committed suicide in 1774. Here is one term, Nawabs. This term was used for the Nawabs of the India, Nawabs, because Britishers, they used him as a Nawab. Coming to next part of this chapter, here you can see we will discuss step by step. Tipu Sultan as the tiger of Mysore. Here you can see one tiger is shown. This tiger is the symbol of Tipu Sultan, and here the another one is Britisher, means it. Tipu's bravery is shown here, that he was very strong and powerful. He was very brave like a tiger. Mysore kingdom was declared independent kingdom by Hyder Ali, father of Tipu Sultan, in 1761, and from 1761 to 1782 Hyder Ali ruled. He fought 2 wars with the Britishers, and he was considered as a powerful ruler of Mysore, but in second battle he died. So that battle was continued by his son Tipu Sultan. He stopped the export of sandalwood, pepper, cardamom to British East India Company members, and established his close relations with French. He modernized his army like the French army, European army. Britishers, they felt very jealous, and they tried to occupy his territory. In 1790, during the period of Lord Cornwallis, third Anglo-Mysore war was fought. First was in 1767 to 1769, second was 1780 to 1784, third was 1790 to 1792. So in this battle Tipu was defeated, and he had to sign one agreement with the Britishers in which he gave his two sons as in the custody of the Britishers. Here you can see in the book it is given clearly. One picture is also shown. So because of his ambitious, Britishers, they occupied his territories and they decided to crush his power. Ultimately, when Wellesley came, who was very ambitious, who introduced Subsidiary Alliance, he decided to occupy this Mysore region and fought a battle known as Battle of Srirangapatnam, in which company defeated Tipu Sultan and Tipu was killed in the battlefield. This Mysore kingdom was given to old dynasty Nanjara's rulers. In this way they occupied Mysore region. Now Britishers, they felt that Marathas who were in power, means they felt that they are the major hurdle for them to establish their rule in India. So after the third battle of Panipat, when Marathas, they consolidated themselves, they divided into 5 dynasties such as Sindhia, Holkar, Gaikwad, Bhosle and Peshwas. So their chiefs were held together in a confederacy under the Peshwa, who was the principal minister of that time. Britishers, they fought war. Mahadji Sindhia and Nana Fadnvis, these were 2 famous Maratha rulers, Maratha Peshwas of that time. Britishers, they fought series of wars with Marathas from 1775 to 82, then 1803 to 85 to 1805, and then 1817 to 19, and ultimately in the last battle they crushed Maratha power. Peshwa was sent to Bithur near Kanpur with a pension, and they established their control in this region. Now Britishers, they declared their paramountcy. Here this word paramountcy, here it has come. So here paramountcy refers to supreme power. Britishers, they declared that they are supreme in India. In order to establish their control in India, they declared that they are the most powerful, and for this purpose here they fought some wars with European powers too. They fought wars with some neighboring states as well as Indian states. For example, here one Indian state, Kittur, is there in Karnataka region. So Rani Chinnamma, she was queen of that region. Britishers, they fought war with her. She was finally arrested in 1824 and died in prison in 1829. Britishers, they sent their forces in Afghanistan region from 1838 to 1842 AD, and they established their indirect rule, company rule in Afghanistan region. In 1843 they occupied Sindh region too. The another important area which was a hurdle for the Britishers to establish their power in India, that was Punjab. As you know that Maharaja Ranjit Singh was very powerful ruler in Punjab. So after his death in 1839 they fought 2 major wars with Sikhs in 1845 to 46 and 1848 to 49, and ultimately in 1849 this kingdom was annexed in British Empire. Now I'm coming to this subsidiary alliance. When Britishers, they were extending their empire in different areas. That time Lord Wellesley, who was the Governor General of India that time, he passed one agreement or subsidiary alliance term by which Indian rulers, they were not allowed to have their independent armed forces. They were to be protected by the company, and they were forced to prepare an army for the Britishers. Here you can see, although they were given assurance that their kingdom would be protected by the Britishers, company was supposed to maintain this subsidiary alliance for the purpose of this protection. If the Indian ruler failed to make the payment, then the part of their territory was taken away as the penalty. So Nawab of Awadh, he was forced to join this in 1801. Hyderabad Nizam, he was also forced to accept this, and later on many Indian territories were forced to accept this subsidiary alliance. Now I'm telling you one of the important terminology of this chapter, doctrine of lapse. This doctrine of lapse, as Britishers, they had different policies to extend their empire. They adopted three main policies. First was aggression policy, means by the attack. Second, by their policies of this lapse and subsidiary. The third was maladministration, which they imposed on many Indian states, that your administration is not good. So here doctrine of lapse, it was introduced by Lord Dalhousie, who was the Governor General from 1848 to 56. So by this policy, he declared that if any Indian ruler died without a male heir, here it refers that without a natural son, then his kingdom would lapse. Lapse here it refers would be merged into the British Empire, and it will become a part of British Empire. One after the another, Britishers, they annexed many Indian states. Like in 1848, first province was Stara, then Sambhalpur in 1850, Udaipur in 1852, Nagpur in 1853, and Jhansi in 1854. You can see here, step by step, they annexed most of the states. Although their ambition could not stop here, they felt that there are some states which needs to be annexed in British Empire. That's why in 1856, company blamed Awadh king as a maladministration. Maladministration means misgovernment in that region. Awadh Nawab was blamed that his administration is not good for the people. People are unhappy, and he asked Awadh Nawab to leave that area. He was also sent from the outside from the state. This was the reason that Awadh, Jhansi and other states, they joined in first war of independence. Here we have another para of this chapter, setting up new administration. Britishers, they set up new administration in India, and for this purpose Warren Hastings began this process. When he, during his period, you can say, company got the power not only in Bengal, in other provinces also, like Bombay, Madras. They divided their administration into presidencies. Here, setting up new administration, here you can take that first step taken by British East India Company, that was the establishment of presidencies like Bengal, Madras and Bombay. Then in 1772 they established a new system of justice. Two courts were set up, one criminal court and the another was civil court. Criminal refers to Faujdari Adalat and civil refers to Diwani Adalat. So Qazi was the judge of India that time. Mufti means a jurist of the Muslim community. So these are the two terminologies. Britishers, they called Indian Pandits and Indian religious scholars to compile the texts of their religion, which was later on translated by N.B. Halhed into English, and a code was compiled. In 1778 a code of Muslim law was compiled, and finally in 1773 Supreme Court was set up in Calcutta. Okay. Later on in Indian districts also some collectors were appointed, and for the help of these collectors, judges, police officers, darogas, they were given some responsibilities. Second last topic of this chapter is company's army. This is the last one. That company established a powerful army because they knew that their base of the administration is totally depended on their powerful army, because any time they could face any Indian rulers fight. That's why they trained their army in a very disciplined manner. In their army there were Sawars, who were the trained soldiers on the back of the horses, and infantry, this was the pedal foot soldiers. They were given training in archery, tirandaji and use of the swords, how to use it. These soldiers were trained, disciplined, and they adopted various methods to make them perfect in the training. In army they used muskets and matchlocks, means these were two terminologies which I am explaining now. Musket, here it refers the heavy gun which was used by the infantry soldier, and the matchlock was a type of gun, early type of gun, in which the powder was ignited by the match. So these were used by the company soldiers. Military was modernized, it was not traditional like the Mughal emperors. They gave them training, drill, and focused on their discipline part, on regulation part, so that this army could be the perfect army to fight against the Indian rulers. In this way, slowly and gradually, by 1857, as you know that last Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Jafar, who ruled up to 1857 or first war of independence, they had their direct rule over about 63% of Indian territories, even 78% of the population of Indian subcontinent. So you may say that by their different policies they established a powerful rule in India. Here in chapter 1, source is also given that is related to the slave trade of South Africa, that in Africa slave trade was there. People, they were captured, they were chained and sold in slave markets in different ports of Africa. Although this slavery ended in 1834, that time there were around 36,774 privately owned slaves at the Cape located to the southmost tip of Africa. In this way, we can say that company established their rule in India. You can write down your main points of this video. If you like this video, you can subscribe this channel for more updates related to social science and history. You can watch all the videos of class step by step. Thank you. Have a nice day.